Hello and good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 40th anniversary of the El Dorado Rose Pageant. My name is Dolores Wadsworth, and it was my privilege to be the 2013 El Dorado Rose, and that was a monumental year for me. Before we get started, you may notice in our program given at the door, we plan to introduce you to Dottie Ingram Williams, who was the actual El Dorado Rose Pageant originator in 1976. Due to unseen circumstances, she wasn't able to be here tonight. However, she called me and asked me to convey how proud she is of the community for their support, and especially to our candidates tonight, all the roses, and all those who work with such dedication to continue this pageant. Dottie was the publicist for the El Dorado County Fair back in the middle 1970s. And as she looked around, she noticed that all of the contests and pageants were for the shapely little young ladies. And she said, and I'm going to quote her, she said, "Where will they be 40 years from now?" Bingo! The El Dorado Rose Pageant for seniors was born. She said it was a hard sell to the Fair Board, but when other states began calling and inquiring how to honor their senior ladies, we knew that she had created a wonderful new concept. And here we are, 2016, 40 years later. Dottie thanks you, and we thank Dottie for such a terrific idea. Now, let's get on with the program. I have the honor to introduce you to our dynamic Master of Ceremonies that can't wait to get up here. And he's our County Assessor, Mr. Carl Wilde.
Thank you, Dolores. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'd like to welcome you all. I hope we have a fun and great evening planned for you tonight. I hope you did get to see the arrival of our Rose candidates. They were pulled in a buggy by an American cream draft horse named Glenn. He was driven by cowboy Matt Shook, escorted by Dave Tressler. That's an interest, and I think I'm going to have to remember that next time I have to run for office. I would like to open with a quote by Bob Billingsley. I think many of us are familiar with Bob Billingsley. He writes in the Mount Democrat on a regular basis. The article, "Heard Over the Back Fence." Bob says, "El Dorado County is famous for the discovery of gold and is often considered to be tough and rough around the edges. However, tonight, you are going to see the elegance of our county as we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the El Dorado Rose Pageant. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the three candidates for the 2016 El Dorado County Rose. Our first candidate is Raylene Nunn. She is sponsored by the Shakespeare Club of Placerville, and she is being escorted by her husband, Buzz. Our second candidate is Carol Mueller, sponsored by Delta Kappa Gamma, and she is being escorted by her son-in-law, Matt Vierkamp. Our third candidate is Mary Meter, sponsored by Goldbug Mine. She is being escorted by Michael Metz. let's have a round of applause for our three candidates tonight. Now, Sharon McDavid, president of the El Dorado Rose, will briefly talk about the program. Sharon?
Thank you, Carl. The El Dorado Rose program is not a beauty contest in look. Looking up the word beauty in the dictionary, the word beauty can mean several things, such as a work of art or something natural. We have tonight our own type of natural beauty in El Dorado County. We are here to honor service. Some 40 years ago, the bicentennial year of 1976, a unique statue and a unique salute of the talents of women over 60 years of age was conceived, and that has become a tradition that will hopefully be kept for many more years. Tonight, we have three lovely ladies who qualify. Qualifications are that one must be 60 years of age or older, must live in the county over 10 years, and most importantly, must give her time and energy to noteworthy non-career years of service, of volunteer service. For the competition and for the honor of being selected, she is judged on her knowledge of the history of our county, her costume, and the volunteer work, which shows her inner beauty. A panel of judges interviewed the ladies last Monday morning and made their selection. This outcome is a secret that only they know. There is only one rose, which will be selected tonight. The other women in the competition will become her court, which is an honor itself. Together, during the year, they will attend ribbon cuttings of the new businesses and represent our county in numerous functions and wearing vintage clothing. This pageant has received state and national recognition for the unique salute to the talents and the uniqueness of women who refuse to fit the mold of sedentary life. Let's sit back the rest of the evening and enjoy the selection of our new rose, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Sharon. As Sharon explained, the duties of a rose during her year are quite significant and varied. Our 2015 rose, Bonnie Robertson, started her year last June and has been a very active lady on behalf of the El Dorado Rose. Her year ends with this pageant tonight. Bonnie, would you do us the honor of explaining a little bit about how your year went and introduce your court?
We had a grand time this year, and my court consists of Judy Jackson and Carol McLaughlin. And we got to go on all kinds of fun things. We went on the wagon train, we did ribbon cuttings, we went on the Calliope, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And these ladies that are leaving, it's not because I'm bored, it's because they're having a surprise. In any case, we had just a fantastic time this year, and I'm amazed at how fast the year has gone. And everywhere you go, you bring a smile to people when they see you in these funny clothes. So, in any case, I've had a grand year. Thank you. And, I forgot to tell you, I was honored and blessed to be chosen. That's what I was supposed to tell you first.
Bonnie, would you do us the honor of taking one last walk around the stage, please? I got that. Right, are you ready for some entertainment? At this time, we're going to have Carol Burnley describe and show some examples of Victorian dress clothing worn by the ladies in the late 1800s.
Evening. As you can see by our candidates, they're dressed in 3 lovely Victorian outfits. And so we want to tell you a little bit about what a Victorian lady's day was like. And we're talking about a high society lady who had nothing better to do than change her clothes perhaps even 6 times a day. True. I'm going to have to slap them, I'm sorry. Actually, a Victorian lady's wardrobe actually consisted of 27 pieces. Now, we're not going to show you all those pieces, but even her hat pin was considered part of her attire. And if you notice that some of the real hat pins could also be used as a weapon if the lady needed it. They also, which we might need it right now. They also carried a mussy-tussy, and we don't have one, but a mussy-tussy was used for when the ladies passed by some of the gentlemen, not ours. They might not have been smelling too nicely because, you know, they didn't bathe all that much back then. So they would just put their little mussy-tussy up to their nose and travel on down the sidewalk past the smelly men. Okay. So we have Mrs. Wintergreen here tonight to show you her clothing for the day. So Mrs. Wintergreen's day would start at around 7:30 a.m. Martha, her lady's maid, would bring up a tea tray, and Mrs. Wintergreen would usually have a slice of toast and a spot of tea to start her day. Now Martha is here to help her dress because, you know, with all those things she has to put on, she just can't do it by herself. And it was not acceptable for Mrs. Wintergreen to be seen outside of her bedroom without her dressing gown on. And you'll see that she is wearing a camisole, and she has some pantaloons, and she's got that lovely corset. The corset was the foundation of Victorian ladies' wardrobe. It provided postural support for the wearer and structural support for the outer garment. By narrowing the waist, it created a broad platform for skirts to rest upon, and the uniform torso measurement it created allowed bodices and jackets to be fashioned and fitted. Thank you, Mrs. Wintergreen and Martha. Once Mrs. Wintergreen is ready to head out and meet friends and put in a few rounds of walking around the park, or perhaps an early morning horseback ride. The outfit that I'm wearing is made of cotton ticking. The skirt and jacket are completely lined. The jacket has steel stays. The velvet trim has been sewn on by hand. It is circa 1850 and was found in a missionary's trunk in Hawaii, and all closures are hook and eyes. Mrs. Wintergreen would probably return home about 10 o'clock, ready to start her day's work. She will attend to correspondence and reply to invitations and see to her children. She will meet with the staff and plan the day's menu. She will then attend to the household accounts. In the afternoon, Mrs. Wintergreen will go out shopping, or perhaps take an appointment with her dressmaker, or simply visit with friends. Mrs. Wintergreen is wearing a walking suit circa 1905. The skirt is nice pleated linen and wool with hook back closures. The blouse is a cotton lawn embroidered back button closure with lots of tucks, and the jacket is silk. Thank you, Mrs. Wintergreen. No, Mrs. Wintergreen, stay here. Come back, Mrs. Oh, Martha's going to have to get her. Thank you, Martha. By 4 p.m., at 2 p.m., at 2 p.m., Mrs. Wintergreen is off to a garden party. Her 1910 dress is embroidered cotton lawn. It is gathered at the waist. She also carries her parasol, which not only protects her fair complexion, but could also be used as protection from an unwanted stranger. Thank you, Mrs. Wintergreen. By 4 p.m., Mrs. Wintergreen may take a stroll in the park again. Here we go. Okay. As evening approaches, it's time to dress for the evening. Mrs. Wintergreen and her husband will be dining out this evening. The children will have been fed in the nursery. The Wintergreens try to spend at least an hour a day with the children. Mrs. Wintergreen is wearing a 1910 dinner dress with train. It is a fit and flare. It's made of silk and satin with silk netting and silk embroidery on netting for the lace. Tassels trim the bodice front. This dress was copied by a costume designer for the movie Titanic. Although they're not going on the Titanic, they're staying right here. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Wintergreen. After dinner, the Wintergreens are off to the theater. Now, Mrs. Wintergreen's beautiful dress is actually a reproduction. We're sorry to say that most of the beautiful gowns from this era don't make it. And we could also have many wardrobe malfunctions here with these clothing. So, it's a very beautiful dress made of satin with a bustle and emerald green buttons. Oh, lovely, Mrs. Wintergreen. The Wintergreens may attend a reception after the theater. Finally, the day has come to an end. Poor Mrs. Wintergreen, she's just had such a full day. She's tuckered out. All those times of having to change her clothes, you know, it's very, very tiring. Good night, Mrs. Wintergreen.
Thank you. Let's have another round of applause for all of you. All right, at this time, I would like to introduce the Gold Rush Barbershop Quartet. And the chorus will come out. Chorus. time, I would like to present our past El Dorado County roses. Will the past roses please stand? With one exception, you may please be seated. Reba Trask. Reba? Reba is our oldest living rose at 97 years young. She was the El Dorado Rose in 1987, and her mother, Reba Sinclair, was the El Dorado Rose in 1979. Really great, Reba. Thank you. Will the ladies of the court please stand? And finally, will the golden roses please stand?
Candidate Raylene Nunn. She's a college graduate and a resident of El Dorado County for 33 years. Her volunteer work includes health insurance counseling and advocacy program, which is known as HICAP. She has managed other counselors as well as counseling several thousands of seniors and disabled individuals. While volunteering in the classroom, she helped establish the NANA program. She was a member of the Mad Hatters, a group of knitters that donated over 200,000 hats to hospitals for newborn babies. She's a member of CASA, the Codes for Kids, the annual Easter egg coordinator, and the League to Save Lake Tahoe. She's past president of the Shakespeare Club, as well as members of the Carey House, El Dorado Hills Lions Club, Women's Fund of El Dorado. She was chosen El Dorado County Senior of the Year, as well as other awards. Her hobbies include social organization, community service, building relationships with neighborhood children, and she loves to travel. Raylene Nunn's ensemble is golden satin, purchased in 1895 in Boston from the E.J. Costello Design House, and was listed in the Blue Book, which is the first telephone book. Her dress was made for Charlotte Hill of the Leland Hill family of Placerville. The bodice has a bow at the neckline and full muff sleeves. Notice all the hand crocheted lace trim. Her bodice is whalebone. Her bodice is whalebone, and her whole dress is lined, making it a very heavy dress. The skirt has a train and is quilted with interfacing ruffles at the hem. She even has an antique petticoat. Fasteners were used and a myriad of hooks. Her matching hat is trimmed with antique bird feathers and lace. She even has an authentic hat pin and carries her hand-crocheted gloves. A reticular, which means purse, is in her hand. Her jewelry is family heirloom. She is a true museum piece. Thank you. Candidate Carol Mueller, born in California and an educator. She moved to El Dorado County in 1974 and has numerous volunteer activities. She has worked numerous hours with youth such as Campfire Girls, Boys and Girls Club, worked with Chanel School children, as well as overnight camping, donated school supply kits, and ran the school talent show. She has won several service awards. Her adult duties or activities include making dolls, assisting teachers, reading cards to veterans, fundraising for cancer research, veterans practice, volunteer for the Highway Patrol, and for the kids' distribution of toys, Native Daughters of the Golden West, and Hangtown Model A Club. These are a small number of the volunteer hours she has worked since she has come to El Dorado County. She's been an officer in many organizations. Her special interests are trying new foods, gardening, antique and foreign doll collecting, and raising cattle without hormones and antibiotics. She may be small in stature, but a giant in energy, and is upbeat and outgoing. Thank you, Carol. Carol Mueller is wearing an 1890s mourning visiting suit that would be worn by a widow. The first year, a widow wears all black. The second year, she could wear a little off-white trim. And the third year, she could add some color, such as you see the purple blouse here. Black dye on clothing makes the cloth last longer and hides dirt, while the purple color has arsenic in the dye. Her outfit is an original antique. Her wool felt brimmed hat is decorated with silk velvet ribbon in the back, while the silk veil covers her face. The hat is held on with two ebony hat pins. Her black silk velvet cape is draped over her arm, and she has a high neck dark purple blouse, silk blouse with ecru lace trim. The cape matches her antique black drawstring purse, which is decorated with large paste sequins. Inside the purse, she carries an embroidered handkerchief with a tattered lace border. Carol's antique silk caftan and satin skirt cascades on the floor with an insert of lace and stylish train in the back, concealing her antique lace-up black leather boots with pointed toes, as well as her black cotton petticoat. Even her hosiery is made of silk, and her black leather glove completes the outfit. Thank you, Carol. Mary Meter Kempsey. She's a true native daughter, born in Placerville and went to the local school. She has 5 children and attended community college. Her volunteer work included 31 years of leadership and participation in the Girls and Boys Scouting program, plus 4-H in the Eagle Scouts. She's been a 4-H leader and county advisor, volunteered at the Marshall Hospital Auxiliary, and active in the Downtown Association. She is currently volunteering at Gold Bus Park. In 1987, she was awarded the Family of the Year and has awards with 4-H. Her hobbies include sewing, the yard, reading, and volunteering. I'd like to make a comment that I thought was especially interesting about Mary, which has nothing to do with her volunteer work. Starting with her grandmother, the first generation, whose name was Christine Duffy Bain, born in 1870. She was a concert pianist, teacher, and rancher. The second generation, her father, Duffy, who ran the family ranch in Kelowna, then the store in Placerville. And now Mary, the third generation, is running Placerville News. Her great-grandfather, her father's mother's father, owned the first operating toll bridge over Chili Bar. Mary is proud of her background and believes in preserving the local heritage. Mary Meter's rose dress is a two-piece outfit. It was made for her mother to wear at the Kelowna Golden Centennial celebration of 1948. The pattern was taken from the original dress research, which shows that it looks like approximately 1856. Her cotton fabric print, which means is called lawn, which means see-through. The bodice has ruffles at the waist and at the top, which is edged in stiff black lace. Notice the bodice is lined and steel bones. Capped short sleeves were a new fashion. The full skirt has 3 layers of ruffles spaced about a foot apart. There are no buttons nor zippers in those days, and this dress is totally fastened with hooks and eyes. She's wearing her grandmother's petticoat. A particular purse was necessary for a well-dressed woman. Thank you, Mary.
And I would like to invite Pete Overbeek from the El Dorado County Fair to join me and announce the winners of this year's El Dorado County Rose Pageant.
Before I do announcement, I'd just like to say this brings a smile to my face, and the time donated by these ladies and you sitting out there giving your time to our community really makes me proud to say I am a resident of El Dorado County, and I thank you. So the first trophy that goes out is for the best authentic costume. And that one goes to Carol Mueller. Next is for the best costume reproduction. And this one goes to Mary Meter. Okay. The next trophy is for Court Lady. And again, they're all winners. And I know why the judges didn't show up. How could you choose? How could you choose? But the first Court Lady will be Raylene Nunn. And our second Court Lady will be Carol Mueller. We all know who this one goes to. Mary Meter. She will win your heart from the very start, wearing lovely flowers. She's the essence of ladies that we love, mothers and sweethearts. Queen of the mother love, heart as good as gold. She's the queen of all counties, the queen of all hearts. She's reigning in the wings, now her reign's about to start. In El Dorado County, we honor her today. If our fighters were here, they would surely say, everybody knows El Dorado Rose, the lady of the hour. She will win your heart from the very start, a rare and lovely love. Everybody knows, everybody loves